All right, guys, this is John Scarborough. We're finally done. We got all of these shiitake mushroom logs inoculated. It took us definitely longer than I expected, I have to tell you. I think we calculated it was about 20 man hours. We did not do it all the way through. And I really should say 20 woman hours because my wife actually did the majority of the work. I drilled all the holes, which if anybody has done this, the drilling of the holes is the easy part. It does not take any time at all. I mean, of course, I cut up all the limbs, and I'm not even calculating the 20 hours for cutting the limbs up because that was more time in itself just getting those cut. Nice thing is that was a nice byproduct. Those are a little small for some things for firewood. I mean, some of it's not bad, but it's a little small for good firewood. But it's definitely, you wouldn't use it anywhere else really, except to burn it. I mean, and you would use it for firewood most likely, but the point is that it wouldn't be really good for anything else. So it's a nice way to get rid of that byproduct for sure, and I'm really happy about that. But I had to put my time into cutting them all up into actual nice sized pieces because I would have actually just gotten rid of them, obviously. But I'm really happy that we were able to do something with them rather than to get rid of them. But so it took us about 20 hours. I did all the drilling. That may have been an hour's worth of work total by the time we did all of it with the drilling. But then everything else is what really took up the time. I mean, and my wife, she would come home from work and she would work on this a little bit at a time. We did it over the course of about 3 days because there's only so much time that she had. And then, of course, she also has to take care of the microgreens and the chickens. But that's not taking up too much time. The microgreens are usually, there's 2 days that she'll come home and take care of that. But, and then the chickens, that doesn't take very long to move at all. So outside of that wasn't a big deal. But as soon as she got done with that, she got right to work on here. That woman right there, she is a hard-working woman. I'm very lucky to have her. She works very hard, and she does a very good job. And she does not watch my videos, so she'll probably never see that. But y'all know, so y'all just keep that in mind. Anyway, so these are really, really excited about that. But just bear in mind how long it will take you. We started out with 15 pounds. I would suggest maybe just starting out with 5 pounds, especially if you're not planning on doing it for a business. Because we knew we were planning on doing it for a business, and I knew I had so many logs to do. So many logs that were just going to get thrown away because we got the sawmill now. I mean, you see I got a big log on there I've been working on. We got the sawmill, so there's these byproducts. So I really wanted to utilize that and not see it go to waste, So that's the reason I went ahead and went with the 3 bags of it. It was about 16.5 pounds, I think I said. And, I think it's 5.5 pounds per bag, something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, if you're not planning on doing it, or if you don't have a huge amount of this wood right here, I would start out with just the 1 bag. Just to play with it. I might even would start out with just the plugs. We just went the cheapest option, the best and cheapest option that we could, while still making it somewhat efficient. So that because we really feel like that if these will grow well in our area and they will market well, we really feel like we want to include this as part of our business plan. Something here on the farm because it really just makes sense. We already take stuff, we already sell stuff in town, at restaurants. We go to the farmer's market and everything, and we already do that. It goes well with beef, and then I've got the sawmill, so then I've already got all of this lumber coming through, and then we like to clean out. We're fixing to start cleaning out like savannas, like little savanna areas, and try to do some agroforestry with the cattle and with the sheep and everything. So it just all goes hand in hand. And that's one thing I like that's one thing I always tell people with a farm is you know, a farm can be hard to make a living, so the best thing you can do is stack enterprises on top of each other and stack things that work quite well together. Like, for instance, my wife, when we were in here working on this, I would drill a few holes, fill that table up over there, and then I would go out and start working on the sawmill. You know, I'd start sawing up logs, and then she'd be in here inoculating. And I did help her some. I wanted to do some of it, and she would have gotten it done faster, obviously, if I would have been there helping her with it. But with all the new stuff, I mean, I kind of just have to stay on top of these. We had a big storm come through, and there's trees everywhere, so there's just tons of trees. And I'll get another video out there showing y'all some of that. But I mean, we got stacks of logs over there, and then we got more stacks behind here, and then I've still got to go get a bunch of logs. I mean, just an astronomical amount of logs, and big logs have just fallen everywhere from the big storm that we had come through. We actually had like 3 decent sized windstorms come through, but then there was an actual tornado literally just right up the woods from us. I mean, we felt the wind strong for ourselves. So I am just bowed up and busy, as busy as I can be. I'm just, every extra moment I've got, I'm on that sawmill sawing up wood. So anyway, so that's kind of, but go back to the business thing a little bit. When you're stacking enterprises on your farm, you want to do that. You want to stack stuff that works well together, okay? So like the nice thing about that sawmill is I can run in at any point. I mean, you see where I stopped. I just stopped at that point right there. Well, I could go out, I could move the cows, I could take care of some stuff, come back and start sawing again. And then I can stop right in the middle of it if I need to, and I can go take care of other stuff. You know, I can do little things like that. I had a guy come up in here the other day while I was out here sawing. The guy knew that I was a welder, and I got this shop here, and he pulled up in here, and I stopped and did a little job for him real quick. Took about an hour, got that done, wasn't no big deal, you know, and then went right back to sawing. And so that's the thing. We're stacking enterprises that work well together, okay? And so that's something you have to keep in mind and something you kind of want to go forward with. But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about that in this video, guys. I'm very excited about these mushrooms, very excited about the way this went. Do keep in mind it will take probably longer than you would expect. There's a lot of holes, and then you got to do the wax just right and get all that right. And I would really suggest maybe trying out the plugs. I don't know if the plugs work as well. I don't know. But maybe try that your first time too, you know. Or maybe try a little mix of it, you know. But we just got this inoculator. We didn't buy the really expensive one. I would have gone ahead and bought the expensive one, but like I said, I didn't know it was 10 times more than this one, okay? And there's a lot of people that still use these even when they do a lot, you know, so I would definitely consider, if we do it again, I'm probably going to at least get 2 of these so that we can both inoculate and put wax on for sure. Because I think the inoculating actually is taking longer than anything else with that for sure. But anyway, so we did that. We bought a $10 crock pot for our wax, and we put all of that in there. And I still got to clean up because there's just stuff everywhere, just absolutely covering everything. But so anyway, if we do this, if we find out that it works well, then we will make the investment and possibly invest in the more expensive stuff. I'm not against. I always tell people, you know, your time is the one thing you can't get back. So if it cost me more money, even 10 times more, a lot of times I'm willing to go ahead and spend that extra money in order to save my time, okay? Because, I mean, that's the one thing. You cannot get that part back. I can get more logs, I can get more inoculation, I can get, you know, a lot of things, but I can't get my time back. I just can't, you know. But with that being said, knowing that there's a big chance when you start a new avenue in business, there's always a big chance that you won't be able to do what you hope to do. You know, it works on paper. That doesn't mean it's going to work in real life. And I think that's where a lot of farmers fail, is it does work on paper, but it doesn't work in real life. For whatever reason, it just doesn't, okay? And that happens to everybody, okay? Especially in the farming world. But because of that, I wanted to be careful about not investing too much. I wanted to invest just enough. You know, it's a decent amount of money to kind of get started with the inoculator. Not too bad. But if we would have bought the expensive inoculator and bought all of the expensive stuff, then it would have definitely added up to a decent amount for a start. And then, so this is what happens if we would have spent all of that. This is something that can happen, and it's something that happened with our microgreen business. And that's, I think I touched on this before, is all of it worked on paper. It worked very well on paper, and it still works. Like, we actually did it, and we found out that our calculations were right. We were right about the income that we could make from it and everything. It was good. Our problem was there wasn't the sales. The amount of customers that wanted it, there just wasn't enough quantity. So yes, we still do it. We still do it because the numbers work, and we'll sell to the customers that we can and that want it. But there's not enough income, there's not enough sales to be a business by itself, okay? So you got to be careful about that. If we would have gone all in and dug this huge basement, like I've heard of people doing that with that business, is they will dig this big basement and everything, and it works great. They make really good money. And so, I mean, that's something we even thought about, because it works better. Microgreens work better in a basement or a cellar, okay? So we could have done that. We could have dug this big cellar and we just gone all in, and then we would have been in over our heads and we wouldn't have been able to get the sales. But by starting out the way we started small and careful, and then gradually filled the market with as much as we could and sold to all of our customers that we could. We were able to do well with it. We don't make a lot of money with it, but it fits our, in other words, the total money is not great because there's just not the sales. But the hourly, the amount that we're able to pay ourselves, like the hourly wage that you can do from it, basically the money versus work part, the money versus labor part, those things add up good. So there ends up being that we just don't put a lot of time into it. We don't get a great amount of money, but to when you compare the two, the money versus time, that works out good. So we still do it, but we had to be careful about that. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to be real careful. We're going to start out slow because you just don't know. This may not work. These may not grow well. They may not produce well here. Or they may all grow well, and then we may find that it's just we can't sell the mushrooms, Like I got inspired to do this by Greg Judy. I was already kind of interested in the mushrooms, and I liked Greg Judy. Well, then I saw that Greg Judy did mushrooms himself, and so I kind of started watching his videos and got into it and got really inspired by it. And so that's something I like. But I think he's got thousands of logs. I'm not exactly sure, but I know he's got at least 1,000. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that he's got over 1,000 logs, maybe quite a bit more than that. He may have more than that. I'm not real sure about that. But I know that he's got a lot of logs, and he doesn't seem to have any trouble selling them. And I've heard that from other people. But you don't always know that. It was the same way with the microgreens. We were watching different people that we knew, and we were talking to different people that we knew, and they were just doing very well. They were selling all that they could grow with the microgreens. But then we did it, and where we're at, you can say whatever you want by it. It could be the fact that we have competition in our area. It could be the fact that we have the town that we're in, they don't really like microgreens. It could be whatever, and it could simply be our marketing. Maybe we're not very good at marketing microgreens specifically. But whatever, all of those things don't matter, and that doesn't mean that you don't try to do better and better. You do, but you have to keep that in mind. So, with all that being said, definitely be careful when you do it. Be very careful. Start slow. Start careful. And I would definitely suggest starting even slower than this, because I really thought that this was a slow start when I did this. It's not that many at all, And the crazy thing is, we still have more inoculant. I probably won't get a trailer quite this full, but I bet you I've got enough to get one, maybe half that, about half of that probably, of logs. So I've got more work to do yet. I've got to go cut some more logs. We've got to get that all inoculated and all like that. So Anyway, guys, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all very much for y'all's support, and I really, really do appreciate everyone that has subscribed to the channel. It really, truly helps our videos. It helps our channel out, and it helps us with our business. It's free to y'all. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, but it does really, really help us. So I really appreciate it, and I would really appreciate y'all's likes and your subscribes. Thanks.